Bienvenidos a otro episodio más de La Vuelta. Soy Rivera. Hoy tengo de invitado a Slash Venom, Flanagan, como lo quieran conocer, un tremendo amigo y un luchador de Estados Unidos, de Indianápolis, que hoy va a ser mi invitado. Antes de comenzar, le quiero decir que nos pueden seguir por nuestras redes sociales, por el nombre de La Vuelta, en Twitter, en Facebook, Instagram y nuestro canal de YouTube como La Vuelta. Así que te puedes suscribir, deja tu comentario, déjanos saber. Tus críticas son todas aceptadas. Así que sin más preámbulos vamos a comenzar con nuestro invitado de hoy. Es un buen amigo de hace mucho tiempo y es una tremenda persona, un gran luchador que tiene muchas historias, pero vamos a tratar de mantenerlo más corto y vamos a tratar también de hablar de la persona, no tanto del luchador, porque es un buen amigo. So, brother, Slash Venom, thank you for being here in my podcast. This is my new thing right now that I'm retired from wrestling. This is what I do. So,
you're retired for now until that next time.
No.
Until you fully get away from it, you're never fully retired. Trust me. You'll be back in the ring eventually.
No, I don't think so. But hey, this is my podcast, man. I'm supposed to interview you. I'll do the question, not you. So behave, man. Behave. Hey, first of all, everybody knows you here in Puerto Rico, you know, for your wrestling days in the IWA back in the days, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The crazy stuff you did in the ring, the famous balcony throw with Ricky in the match, you know, all those stuff. But people know that about him, and that's cool because that's why he worked in this business to entertain you guys and to give you moments that you never forget. But the person, man, behind all that craziness, the person, you know, behind all that, who is Slash Venom? Who is Flanagan? Who is the guy from Indiana? Who is he?
Well, when I grew up, I was going to the shows and everything. I'd go to WWF and NWA, WCW, and every time I'd go to a show, I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. And it was like sitting in the crowd watching. I always wanted to say, when I became a wrestler, wanted to make sure everyone that bought a ticket, at least if they didn't like the show, that when they watched me, they felt like they at least got their money's worth. So I always went out there. Then you could see times I'd come to a show and I'd hurt and everything, but when the bell time came, it was like, it's ready to go.
It's go time.
It's ready to go. They bought a ticket, and I always want to make sure they got their money's worth, and I hope I gave you guys your money's worth.
Okay, we know that because all of us start in this business because we were fans. We saw it as a kid, and we said, "Damn, that's fucking cool. I want to do that. That's great. You know, I want to do that." Okay, but when you decide to get inside this business, what was your first school? Who taught you your first moves?
When I got started, there was a local guy, local wrestler in Indianapolis area. He wrestled as Quicksilver, and then he brought Rip Rogers in, and then Rip tortured me. He beat me to death.
Rip Rogers have a great run here in Puerto Rico, and used to be. I think he used to do commentary too in some shows, and he used to be a great fucking heel. I remember, you know, his big mullet and stuff. Look. Cool stuff back in the day. Continue, please.
But he tortured me, and it was just basically because I was 175 pounds when I started.
All right.
I was in high school, and he tortured me, and it was basically because I was so small. It was to see if I really wanted to be, if I was either going to stick with it or quit. And
all right.
He chopped me, and it was like I was blistered from one side of my other. I was purple and bleeding, split open, and I showed up the next day, and he was like, "Well, I guess you want to be a pro wrestler because a lot of guys you give them everyone's it's all fake, and that's the worst thing I hate because." You know how it is being chopped.
I know.
You know, just a chop. And he's like, God, it hurts.
Yeah.
Running the ropes when you're starting out, it hurts.
It hurts.
And business isn't made for everybody. Guys think, I can go out there and do that. I'm like, yeah, all right, just get in here, and I'll just have you run the ropes for a little while, and then see you feel the next day.
And it's like you say, but a lot of guys nowadays, in Puerto Rico, sadly, and United States, a lot of places, they think that they can do this, and they just maybe they bought a ring and they kept some gear and they start doing stuff. It looks awful, and I hate that because it kills our business that we love, that we learn from good people that earn their respect in this business. And see this guy sometimes, it makes you mad in some way.
Well, then a lot of guys, unless you're a WWF a big star there, like I had a developmental deal, and they don't realize like a lot of guys I help train and give them advice and help out. And then it's like now I try to help out with the younger guys and give them advice. Hey, this and this, you might try this or try that. And they look at you like, well, what do you know? And I think about it, man, is the guys just don't respect the business like the way I was brought in. And I know how I was brought in is like you respect it, like the guys that have been around you, respect them. They may not have got their break. Yeah. But there are guys that are very talented, that are really good, that you don't know of. And you sit there and you're like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. Brad Armstrong was one of the best wrestlers ever. And he never really got that big break. But you ask anyone that knows the wrestling business, Brad Armstrong was one of the best.
So after all this training, you've been doing little shows like everybody's starting, little shows, little cars, here and there. But you got your big break from the development place in OVW, right?
No, Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette.
Ricky Morton and Tracy Smothers had been pitching my name to him for a while. And
but used to be Slash Flanagan in those days.
And in the States, Flanagan, Slash in Puerto Rico.
Slash in Puerto Rico.
But
we're going to talk about that later.
But Cornette called me up. They were doing the Super Bowl wrestling show. And they had The Undertaker, and this is when Kane was Unabomb. And Shawn Michaels was there wrestling Buddy Landel, and I'd wrestled the Headbangers a lot, but he needed a match for them. And from what I've heard, the Steiners were supposed to come in, but they ended up something fell through, and he needed a replacement. So he gave me a call on short notice, and he was like, "Hey, I got a spot here for you. I've heard good things about you. Could you make it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be there." This is my first break in the wrestling business, so I started up at Smoky Mountain at their Super Bowl wrestling show, and that was in like 95. And I'd only been in the business about 3 years at the time. So so I got in there, and Cornette liked me. And then he didn't have a spot though full time, and I'd call him up, "Hey, you got anything?" And he'd bring me in occasionally. And then he brought me in full time in November that year, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." So he built me up. I started out on TV wrestling Tommy Rich.
Wow.
And
so how is to work with such a great mind of wrestling, such a historian of wrestling like Cornette? Because I'm a great fan of his. I listen to his podcast like every fucking week, like 2-3 times a week. And he's he got so many stories. He knows he knows so much about this business. He loves and respects this business so much.
Well, if you would go out there and you do something stupid, and he would explain to you, don't do this, don't do that. And then if you ask questions, hey, what do you think about this? And it wasn't right, he would explain, no, you go from this point to this point, blah, blah, blah.
That's the intelligent part of it. Because I'm telling you, don't do it, but I'm at the same time, I'm telling you, like, don't do it because of this and this and this. I'm telling you the do and don'ts and the reasons why you shouldn't do that,
And but you would learn.
Yeah, and that's the way to.
Then if you made mistakes, he'd help you out. It's like with Rip. Rip was the same way, and guys would tell me when I was younger, like, "Oh, you do this, you're going to feel it later. Your knees are going to be messed up and all that." And now I am feeling it.
We all know. I'm cloning in that bus too.
Give me a ride in there. The one person you cannot beat is Father Time, because he beats you every time. But got in there with Smoky Mountain, and then once the things were going good, it was like out of nowhere, I get the phone call they were shutting down. And I went through a hard time there for a little bit, but then a few months later, I started up full time with USWA, and it was like, got in there, and the Rock was there. He was getting ready to finish up and start full time.
Which state was that?
Oh man,
USWA? What territory? What part
USWA was Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, Evansville, and then you do spot shows in Arkansas, Mississippi, and stuff like that.
All right.
And I was doing Nashville and Louisville at the time.
So like Mid-South, right?
Yeah.
Mid-South.
So I was just doing those shows. And then when The Rock was finishing up, I came in and replaced him full time. And his last day was my first day doing live television. Because they did live TV every Saturday morning. You do TV that Saturday morning, then you go to Nashville Saturday night.
And how do you feel in that day, that big break or one of the biggest breaks?
Well, I had known some of the guys. I'd wrestled a bunch of them in some of the local shows around. But so I knew most of the guys there. But getting my foot in the door again, because I knew WWF was still connected with them. They would send guys down. Then I was there for about a year and a half. Then they closed up. And then Burt Prentice, it wasn't long after that, he started up doing Music City Wrestling. And I had been working for Burt in Arkansas. He had his Ozark Mountain Wrestling. But got in there, and I'd known Burt for a long time, so I'm working his Nashville. He was running Nashville. So I got to do all those areas. Then Cornette came into Louisville because I was still doing OVW stuff. And then Cornette came to OVW, and that's when they started bringing developmental in. And they had their developmental guys. And there was Rico Constantino, there was John Cena, Batista, Orton, Lesnar. Let's see. I say Shelton Benjamin. Shelton was there.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of talent, but they just weren't harnessed yet. So we were teaching those guys. I mean, there was me, Nick Dinsmore, Rob Conway, Doug Basham, Damaja, who was Danny Basham. He was one of the Bashams. But we were basically teaching these guys. And then,
they were green.
Yeah, well, some of them had no experience at all. Rico, he'd only had a handful of matches when he got signed.
Wow.
And Rico was very talented. He won American Gladiators, and he not only just win the Gladiator, he dominated. I mean, because when Rico got there, I remember watching him as a kid on American Gladiator just go through and whip everyone. He broke Turbo's leg. I think it was Turbo, and I don't know if it was the wrestling, but he just dominated, and he won that. And for some reason, I don't know why, when they brought Rico up, they did not do anything about American Gladiators, talk about American Gladiator thing, and how Rico was good. And I got stuck with Rico when he got started out, and get him going. And I told Cornette, he's good and ready to go. And then after Rico, I got Orton, and I had to develop Orton because Cornette asked. He's sitting there.
Orton, he had a background because of his father. He maybe nothing, or just he became like green. I want to go in after he deserted the Marines, he came to the business, and like
Dad made the phone call, got him in there, and then Randy, he was a pudgy kid when he got there, but he busted his butt, got himself in shape, and
his ass off.
Yes, he became one of the best. I mean, he's really good. And
how about Lesnar?
Lesnar was just a freak. I mean, you looked at Brock, and
anatomically, he's a
you look at him and you say, okay, Brock Lesnar and Batista, they're going to make a lot of money because they look like $1 million. Yes. And but Brock was overcoming, trying to get transition from amateur wrestling to pro wrestling, which is completely different. So, but he did, and then when he did that, the shooting star press, I remember when he would do that. And it was like, oh my God! Here's a 300-pound jacked up monster, just a shooting star press, better than guys that are 150 pounds. I mean, it was
crazy.
It was sweet. He flew in the air, and I mean, he put him in the middle of the ring.
That's the famous shooting star he tried to do in WrestleMania with Angle. He almost killed himself.
Yeah,
he took it badly on the head and neck.
That I'm just assuming that. He had never done it that long into a match.
Yeah, because
and then
probably the condition wasn't the same.
Sweating and slipped, and he got lucky.
He got lucky he's alive.
But or not paralyzed.
Yeah.
But Brock was just, you knew he was going to be a special talent. And
So you train with all these guys, and now even John Cena, that right now is like the
John Cena, we knew
guy.
He wasn't the greatest wrestler.
Still is.
Well, he wasn't that good. The wrestling part wasn't great, but he could get on the mic.
He can talk like a motherfucker, right?
The best on the mic. He could.
He's still one of the best.
You can
love him, hate him. The guy is good.
Well, you could sit here and okay, me and you versus Mario.
And he caught
and bam, he come up talk about him wrestling Super Mario and ready to go. He was that good on the mic, and I couldn't see anyone touching him. Right. Then his wrestling,
his mechanics
weren't the greatest, but he's good. I mean, you can't.
And you know,
he's been on top for
12 years, I think.
Longer than that. I mean, he's been the top guy. So.
He's the biggest money drawer. Well, Brock Lesnar right now is $600,000 a match, and $100,000 per appearance, just to be in the ring and Paul Heyman talk for him. That's money, bro.
Can't knock it. And
you know, you teach all these motherfuckers. You know, these big names right now in the business. And that's why I feel so lucky to have you as a friend, because I know you're a great guy. And I know you are.
I met you when you started.
yeah. You school me too. That's why, you know. And you're a hell of a friend, a hell of a person, you know. And that's why I want to do this with you. And I haven't seen you for almost 8 years, I think.
Ignore that good person. I'm bad. I'm mean.
Yeah, but he was my bad person, you know. He was my good bad person. And he still is.
You're ruining my reputation here.
Hey, you're still a great fucking guy, man. And you know, after all this experience, you came to Puerto Rico. After all these years, you've been with all these guys, all those big names in OVW over there, and you did good. You appear in WWE for a while, right? In a couple of dark matches and stuff.
I was doing dark matches, and I didn't have my six-pack abs, shredded up muscle.
The type of body that Bing usually want to work with.
I just wasn't their typical cookie cutter guy.
Yeah.
Here's off the assembly line. Okay, boom, we just printed this guy up. Here's the next guy. Here's the next guy.
Yeah, probably you were a wrestler and they wanted a performer, like they call.
They wanted. Well, you look at everyone now.
Yeah.
Trunks. They all wear the same kind of trunks. They all look exactly alike.
They all look the same, bro. The moves are good, but doing that, I like watching it. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm a fan, but their careers are gonna be so short.
And I'll never forget Jim Ross coming back. He was sitting there having a conversation with us, and he's talking about Austin and The Rock at WrestleMania. And he's talking about how here these guys each one of them made over $1 million that night. Not one of them went to the top rope. And I was like, you know, you don't really think about it, but $1 million payoff, and you never have to go to the top rope. That's good.
That's logic. That's work. Because
I've always liked Steve Austin. Steve Austin's I've always thought he was good.
And I knew Sean when my brother was in WWF back in the days. I went with my brother to the East Tour. It was Rhode Island, Boston. I don't remember the other places. I went with him in '97, right before I finished high school. I went with him, and I knew all these guys in those days. You know, I was like, holy shit, I'm with fucking Undertaker. This, that, everybody was there. Ken Shamrock. That I used to, you know, watch his UFC fights and stuff. And I knew Sean, and Sean for me is one of the best wrestlers in the world, but he's an asshole.
I don't know how he is now.
Yeah, for me, when I knew him, I thought that guy is an asshole.
Well, my only really experience with Sean, like, I remember me and One Man Gang were getting ready to have a dark match, and Sean walked in, and he was like, don't give him anything, just beat the shit out of him. He goes, you didn't give me nothing when I started, don't give him anything. And I was like, man, that's kind of, you don't even know me.
Who the fuck you think he is, to say that?
I just felt bad. I was like, man,
disrespectful, man.
I'm just one of the boys trying to get a job, and you ain't got to bury me right off the bat like that. But I don't know how he is now, but...
Those were the click days. He was a complete asshole. 97... I think 95 was when I lost my smile or whatever the fuck he said. You know, that's stupid. But still, one of the best fucking performers in the fucking square circle, bro. He can tell a fucking story. And nowadays, a lot of guys, they can do a lot of great fucking moves, but they don't tell you a story. And the wrestling, they needs that. The new guys, I think, the way they teach you, the way guys like you, it's my brother Butch, Shane taught me a lot of things. Bison.
It seems like now guys just want to get in the ring, bing, 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 bing,
Yeah.
bing, bing, bing.
And it looks good, but do it with a purpose and tell a story in the ring. That's the main focus that you have to have, like a wrestler. Tell a story, and sadly, it doesn't happen. But anyway, enough about wrestling, bro. Let's talk about the person, because like I told, let me go in Spanish. Como dije al principio, el tipo es tremendo luchador, pero es una tremenda persona. Dentro del luchador hay una tremenda persona, un gran corazón. Bueno, una buena persona, y quiero hablar de eso ahora con él. I was talking about, the wrestler is a great wrestler, but the person is a greater person, And in your days in Puerto Rico, you stood here like, how many years you live in this island? Like,
Let's
7?
see. I think I was here maybe 5 straight years, and then I went home for like 3 months, and then I came back again. I was back here for another couple years.
Yeah, like 7, 8 years.
And a lot of, like, you always hear, there's guys that have been down here, some of the other American wrestlers have been down here, and they thought, oh, you don't want to go down there, it's bad and all this, and they want to knock it. And I was like, man, I had a blast. This is some of the most fun I had, and never had problems with anybody. Everyone was cool with me.
And the houses were fucking
The houses were great.
The money was good in the time.
And then it's one of those things you don't know what you got till it's gone. And then, because I done things I shouldn't have been doing. But when I went home, because I got a little homesick, but when I got home the very first winter, I thought to myself, what was I thinking? Because I had it made. It was great. I had the time of my life down here.
And in the time you came, you were Slash Flanagan, but I don't know if it was because of you, the office told you to change your name. And I know this guy is a big fan of comics, and especially Star Wars especially. But your name has to do a lot with comics. The name that people know here in Puerto Rico. Let me see. If it's true that the Slash Venom, the Venom thing is because of the Spider-Man comic.
No.
No?
No.
I was living a fucking lie all the time.
This is how when I got down here, Luke was like, mate, you mind if we change your name? Like, as long as I got a check each week, call me whatever you want to call me. And then he's like, we're going to call you Slash Venom. And I'm like,
all right.
Slash Venom it is. And then,
so the mate give you that name?
Yeah.
Luke.
As far as I know, all I know is that's the name they came up with, and they gave it to me. Like, I'll make it work. Because at that time, I'd just been released from WWE, and I wanted to stick it in their face and be like, all right, you guys are sitting there and didn't bring me up because I didn't have the 6-pack abs and I wasn't a jacked up muscle bound guy, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to make myself into a star down here. And
you did, bro. You did. You know.
I only wish the people in the States, I wish we could have had the world, the recognition all over that WWE has.
Because the quality of the wrestling here, it was, I think, sometimes even better than in the States.
The stuff that went on down here, I think, was some of the best stuff that was going on. I mean, it was great. I mean, you're in the same building almost every Saturday night, and you're filling it 4,000 or 5,000 people, and on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And
you should run like 4 days a week, 5 days a week. You know, it was hard, and everywhere was where it was a sellout.
And then big show, come to the big shows. I mean, you're in the arenas, and you got 14,000 people.
That's sick.
Hey,
that's sick.
You try an indie show doing that now.
Yeah. Nowadays, nothing against, because I like it. The Cody Rhodes thing, the All In, they sell out 10,000 people. Say, IWA used to do that, a Saturday for a Saturday. In a big show. Remember the stadium in Carolina, the Roberto Clemente Stadium, the big, huge motherfucker. That was a fucking sellout. The first time it rained like a motherfucker.
I got in just a couple months after that, and I'd heard of the stories how when Ricky's in the ring and he's doing
But
the thing. And
you went in the
thunder.
second time you were there.
Yeah.
You were, and you know
And,
that fucking place is huge, man. That place is huge.
So-
and you know, to have that feel, it's like it's big time back in the days. But you know, after that, now that I know that the name, the way your name came, it was a lie, and I was.
Hey, it could have been. I don't know.
All right, maybe I gotta ask Moody. Moody was supposed to be here, but you know, he couldn't make it. Moody, we love you, man.
Cabron.
Well, he loves you.
Should be here, Moody.
This guy, I know that you're a big animal lover. And I know for a fact that in your days in Puerto Rico, you used to come to the arenas, and if you see dogs on the streets, you go over there, you play with them, you give them food or water or whatever,
Yeah.
and you took some of them to your house to live with you. And people saw that in you, that even nowadays, as we speak, one of the person that used to work in the IWA gave you a puppy, and it's still with you 14 years later.
Still with me. And then there was I can't remember the grocery store, I can't remember the name of it, but someone had threw a mother cat, a kitten. The mother cat was dead, but they threw a kitten and a puppy in the trash can. And I could hear them, so I climbed over the fence, and they had the barbed wire around it. And I remember climbing over the fence. I broke the fence, and I fell down, and I had a piece of glass stuck in my knee. But I got the puppy and the kitten out, and I took them home, and fed them, and I found them at home. But like, man, how could you take an animal and throw them in the dumpster? That's just wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong. And I remember the story because we were talking on the way to be here about the dog you used to have, a shithead. The name is funny, but you know, it was cool. And the dog was cool, and I remember that you shave him, but you leave him like a lion. You know, the neck part was with hair, and the rest was trim.
Shed for short.
But it was a cool dog, and you know, you love it, and you found him at home. You know, and it takes guts, you know, the way you think about animals, and because a lot of people here in Puerto Rico and even in the States and everywhere in the world treats animals like shit, and you know, that's wrong. You know, we don't think like that. For you, I know that for me.
And the animal will be loyal to you, where people that you know will stab you in the back.
Yeah,
and
man.
I would rather have someone
that's fucking
that's
true, bro.
loyal to you than someone that.
You were talking to me that one of your dogs, you were in the park with the dog, and a pit bull attacked your dog, and it already have him by the neck, and you. Well, tell the story.
My dog was out playing, and the pit bull snatched the whole had over his head, had my dog's head in his mouth. So I jumped on the pit bull and grabbed his mouth, and I'm sitting there prying on the mouth, trying to keep him, because he wanted to jerk around and snap his neck. And I'm holding the pit bull down, trying to keep his mouth from doing anything, and my dog's yelping, trying to get away. And they threw water on him, and when they threw the water on the dog, he let go. My dog took off running, boom, jumped back in the car, and I was like, man. He's lucky he didn't kill my dog. If he had done something to my dog, I would have not only killed his dog, but probably him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Something will happen.
And then I let my dog out of the car one time. He just took off running because he seen this other dog, and again another pit bull.
No, he got PTSD from pit bulls.
No, he wants to play with the dogs he shouldn't play with. And
okay, he's a player. He likes to play and have fun.
He won't play with little dogs.
All right.
He hates little dogs.
He likes big dogs to play.
But he'll go jump on a big dog, and it's like.
But man, that's so cool about you, that you love animals, and you have rescued a lot of animals here in Puerto Rico, and probably in the States you do the same when you have the chance, you know, because it's a great thing to do. Right now I got a big dog near my neighborhood. I always give him water and food, and you know, he sleeps in my fucking front of my house, and he guards all the house, and you know, I pet him and stuff.
Hey, bring me some food.
Yeah, he always got food, and everybody I see him in the neighborhood, and now like 3 people give him food every fucking day. He eats better than us, bro. You know, and he's loyal. You know, that's cool.
I gotta cook for my dog. I put dog food down.
You cook for your dog?
Yeah, he looks at it like, I'm not eating that, and then I gotta cook him something. Then he'll eat it. But
damn.
He won't eat dog food. And then dog treats, I can take him to the bank, and they'll give him treats there. He'll gobble them up. I give him treats at home. He just looks at me like, I'm not eating that. But if I take the treats that I bought him, put them in my pocket, go to the bank, and act like I'm pulling them out of the tube, then he, boom, gobbles it down. I don't know what it is.
And you're telling me that your dog has heat with your girlfriend.
Hates her.
Hey, sir.
She moved in on his territory.
Yeah,
and it's like,
he don't play that. No. But man, it's such a great time to talk, and thank you for take the time. He's got a show like in an hour, and we're talking here. But that's what friends do, And I'm so glad to see you, to talk to you, that you have been in my podcast, because I know a lot of people, they still remember you, they miss you, they love you, and it's a cool thing, to have great friends in your show. And thank you for accepting, because I'm still retired. I'm gonna keep that way. Even you say the other thing, it feels good, man. You should try someday. It feels great on your body. But anyway, man, Slash, I don't know, probably, the people want to talk about the incident of the Ricky when he threw you. And a lot of people ask me that, and I said, like, man, he can't talk about much of that because he don't remember. But, trying to give me your glimpse of that.
When I got thrown off the balcony, I actually thought I went through the table. And I had no idea what went on after that. And then after I watched it on video, I was like, oh my God.
When you woke up, you were in the locker room when you woke up?
No, I woke up out there, I think. Because I can remember going through the hallway.
Your eyes, but you didn't woke up. You were out.
Well, I was out, but
you were concussed, bro.
When I came to, when I walked back in the locker room, I thought I was fine. But when I went to the hospital, they checked me out, and you're fine. And because if you watch it slowly, you see I landed on my head.
Yeah, literally.
And then good thing I landed on that thing.
Hey, some question I remember. Have you ever worked in Japan?
No.
No?
No.
You ever wish to work in Japan?
No.
No? You don't like Japan? That was my dream. I always wanted to go to Japan. That was my
all I ever wanted to do was either work for WWE or WCW. I wanted to wrestle WWE. I did, but one of those things. To me, it's their loss.
Yeah, and it's true, man. You're still a great talent, still a great person, and now you're here again in Puerto Rico. It's great to have you here. I know a lot of people love you and still remember you.
It's nice to be somewhere where they respect you than be somewhere where they're stabbing you in the back every minute.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fucking true, man. It's fucking true. And man, thank you for being my guest today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I hope you have a fucking good match today. You turn the house down like you always do. And I'll see you in the next one. I know we're gonna see you in this island once again a couple of times. I hope for it.
Hope more than a couple of times.
Bro, thank you for being here. Man, gracias por estar viendo nuestro programa. Saben que nos pueden ver por nuestra aplicación de Apple, de podcast, en iHeartRadio también. Nos pueden suscribir a nuestro canal en YouTube, gracias a Gladzy Bailetti. Esto ha sido un episodio más de La Vuelta con mi amigo Slash Flanagan, aka Slash fucking Venom, el hombre de goma. Este es un episodio más, ya saben, La Vuelta PR, se pueden suscribir. Hasta la próxima y muchas gracias.
Tú no ves que aquí el gallo soy yo.